Last week we discussed like the negative side of social media. We referenced a lot of that Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, and it just left
Mhm.
like a really bad taste in our mouth. So this week we want to start like the positive side and like self, and we just thought like self branding.
Ignition sequence start.
And we are live with the Primas in 5,
4,
3,
2.
1.
Hey everyone, it's Prima Jess,
Peace and love. It's Cindy B.
and this is the Primas Podcast.
Welcome back, Primas y Primos. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Primas Podcast, and we love to have conversations that push us outside of our comfort zone. And today we're talking about self-branding and how to use social media as a tool instead of being used by social media. So we have a very special guest with us who is going to help us have this conversation.
Today, our special guest is an entrepreneur. He's a model, a dancer, and a YouTuber himself. Let's give a round of applause for Rudy.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys all doing? Happy 2020.
Right?
The year of it all, right?
I know.
Everything is going down this year. It's about to be
Okay.
over. I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like now it's like, aw.
I'm really happy that you guys have me on. I've heard a lot of your stuff, and I love the bond you guys have as family. And I've known Jessica for a while, and it's beautiful to have me on. I'm very, very happy to be here with you guys.
Yay. Thanks, Rudy, for your time. Definitely, when Prima and I were talking about our episodes, and we love to bring on people who have a lot of experience or just advice in a certain topic. And you were one of the first people I thought of when I was like, okay, this is a great, let's amplify the positivity of social media. Because last week on our last episode, it was very dark and negative, and I don't want people to have that idea. I want people to think of it as, like Cindy had mentioned, it's a tool, it's a free platform where not only are we both doing that in different sides to put ourselves out there, right? So again, Rudy, thanks. Yeah, I known you for a while. You're really good friends with my not friends, you're the man of my high school friend. So there we
Long
go.
time. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys, you're gonna be on our like long-term relationships because you've been together for 12 amazing years.
Yes.
So
12
congrats to you
years.
guys.
And actually, just to bring it up, we actually met through social media. So it's like a positive thing that we could speak about. Social media can be somewhere where you meet not only your boyfriend, but a best friend. I don't know if you guys all remember MySpace. That was what kind of started it all before Instagram back in, our younger days, And
MySpace is the OG.
OG, yeah. And I remember the little online now in the bottoms. I would like search for my loved one and like, I was interested and I'm like, oh my God, he's cute. I'm like, boom. And I got it. And that was like, I always, think of it like we met online, and that's something positive that I see from, social media. And so I'm happy that I was logged in that day when he was logged in as well.
Oh man, I forgot. And Edgar just, I said his name. Don't worry, my cousin will edit this out.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Your man loves cars, so you must have been intrigued with cars. I remember that was right. You could do your background. His profile picture was cars. He had like the sound of a car just revving as other people had music.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I was like,
Awesome.
he just loved cars. So I think
he still does. He draws them all the time, and so yeah, that was one thing I liked about him. Another thing was, obviously he was a good-looking man. His energy. There was just something that night just kind of got us through, and it was on through like that messaging. I don't know if you remember on MySpace, it was like the red messages would come out, and it's like new friend request, new message, and I'm like, oh my God, he messaged me, and so every time I see a little MySpace thing, it just gives me that good positive memory. Meeting like him through it all, we look back now, I'm like, oh crap, it's all, it all started on a click.
That is so beautiful. Shout out to relationships longer than like 3 to 4 years. Those have been my longest relationships, and I feel like you put in a lot of work and sacrifice, and I think it's very beautiful. So shout out to that. That's amazing. And I think you guys were meant to be because that wasn't a coincidence. Like that's hardcore, you know? Like you guys have been together for so long and MySpace brought you guys together. That's so cute. That's
Yeah,
such a cute story because that's so old school.
I know.
Jess
I
and
was
Yeah,
I had a MySpace together.
isn't that weird? We've tried looking
Yeah.
for it. We don't even know what email we use, but one
oh
day when Cindy was visiting, because she would visit during summer, she's always lived in, well, majority of her time in Colorado. And we decided to create an Instagram together, like Jessica
No,
and Cindy's
MySpace.
oh
MySpace.
my face.
Sorry.
Oh, see, we're so stuck in the Instagram world. Like we got the
I know.
MySpace. Wow, that's what made you guys like bring like to get where you guys are just like, oh, we're friends, we're on MySpace, or
We're
well,
I
I,
don't
cousins. I
know.
have
We're
sorry,
just
no
always doing shit
idea.
together. I don't know.
And
Yeah, I don't either. I'm like, why did we do that? But why did we do so many things that we did?
I
Is
oh
know.
really the
yeah,
question.
Look at this
Yeah.
wow.
now. We're on a podcast together, and in 10 years, we're probably going to look back and be like, what were we thinking
Yeah.
doing a podcast together?
Remember?
Oh, this is amazing. I love that you guys, your family coming together. You talk about topics. This is fun. It's fun. It's especially now that we're all like, social distancing. We can't see each other. So it's a nice way to get together and just chat about like topics in the world. And I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. And speaking of which, one of the reasons that I appreciate technology and its advancements and social media is because I've learned to use it as a tool. And so, yes, me and my cousin are able to have a podcast. I've been trying to do a podcast for a really long time now. And,
Mhm.
this one finally aligned because we were under the pressure of quarantine and we were using Zoom a lot. But I
Yeah.
would have never in my life thought I can do a podcast with my family back in LA. And so that's a huge deal to me. And I know it's brought like opportunities to other people in their, fields or areas, but I think I think there's a lot of beauty also in the advancements. And so the social dilemma, have you seen it, Rudy? Have you seen the social dilemma?
I've heard of it, but no, but it is on my watch list. I've just been moving,
Hmm.
so as soon as I get my Wi-Fi in and all that good stuff for the TV, I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
it.
watch it and let us know. Maybe you can come back and like tell us what you think about it. Just because when I saw it, there's just like a lot of negativity around Google and Facebook controlling us and giving us our dopamine hits every time we get
Oh
likes and views, and so it's pretty cool. But I felt like it was depicted in a very like, ooh, this is evil. And I don't like documentaries like that because then it scares people. That's all it does. It just because we're gonna use it, we're gonna use Google and Facebook and whatever platforms because they're there. Why wouldn't we? It's like a toy. But
yeah.
my whole thing is learning how to use it as a tool because I'm using it also to self brand. And I feel like I have a lot of control on what I want to put out and what I want people to see me as or my message. And I know that you have that, you're doing that as well. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain about what are you trying to do with like self branding or like, what are some insights and how technology has helped you in that?
Well, I've always loved. I mean, since I was very young, I started dancing, doing like modeling and stuff. So when I started kind of growing up, just to meet photographers and stuff, I was a little bit not scared, but when you get a little bit like shied away, you're like, oh my God, I want to do this, but I don't know how to start it. And you just kind of like, your mind is everywhere. You graduate high school and you go to college and you don't know what to do. So I just started like just taking photos on Instagram, like just, with people that I knew. And I'm like, I want to like work with photographers. I want to work with people in the industry, people that know, about acting and dancing, blah, blah. So I just started going like Craigslist or like even like Facebook and just saying like, does anybody know, any photographers in the LA area? And I would just get tagged on stuff. And that's how I slowly started to kind of like get like people that like to come and work with me. So that was nice. So that I think that's what social media helped me because it helps me brand myself and my looks and my shoots. And when I'm at shoots, I tag where I'm at and people are like, wait, where was that at? So it's always there's so many ways it could just help you, not just for yourself, for everyone. Oh, what's that location? Or who's that photographer? Or, what are you doing? So it just benefits all of us. And it benefit me a lot when it comes to like my portfolio and meeting photographers and all that good stuff. So
And really quickly, what's your goal? What do you? I know I saw a lot of modeling. I love your Instagram, by the way,
Mm,
and your
thank you.
YouTube. I love your art. I think it's very unique, and I think I love your look. I don't know. I just do you come up with all of the? Okay, sorry. First question is, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to self brand as? And then, my second question is, do you come up with your own like artistic views? And like, I love your videos, your short videos, and your stuff. So I'm like, who, like, does he think of that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I actually met this really good videographer because that was my goal in 2020. I'm like, I do want to do a video. I've done two already, but just showcasing like fashion and dancing. And so I did one like I think before the quarantine, and then I did one during the whole pandemic. So that was crazy. But she hit me up and she's like, "Hey, I want to shoot you." So I do come up with all the fashion and all that good stuff. So that's something I'm proud of. And then, for me, my initial goal is just to get in entertainment. I feel like I'm an artist. I am an artist. I feel like, I have the dancing in my background. I'm an actor. I've done like music videos. I've been in, I'm working on my website. Me and my partner are doing, it's called La Selva. If you could follow us on Instagram, La Selva _LA. We're doing hats, shirts with Edgar. We're doing candles. I'm doing like a whole stage thing. It should be out soon. It's just we're working with different designers and people to kind of bring it out. So that's another way why social media benefits us because that's how my brand was introduced through Instagram and just the whole website thing. So it's linking the website to my Instagram is a positive thing for us because people will start to get to know us in that way. So you guys see how beautiful it is just to have that connection, and then Jessica, you can go and be like, hey, look, Rudy's La Selva. You click on it and bam, it pops up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of it all, like just social media. And then YouTube, you link your YouTube to your Instagram, you link your Instagram to your Facebook. It's just a way, it's the treasure to your business. I feel that's what social media is, especially now what's going on. I think that a lot of people are realizing that social media is the key to their success in a way. And then it kind of gives them, it gives them that strength to go and do other ventures once their business is already online. So
Yeah, you're right. And it makes me think like it's a free marketing tool because I was even talking to my sister about this after watching the documentary we discussed last week. How else, if not this way, are we going to reach so many people and network for free? And she's like, oh, well, hand out like our podcast, for example, or your business. She's like, oh, well, hand out business cards. I'm like, to who? My family that I only see during quarantine? Or like go
yeah,
pay for a billboard, which costs money and I don't even know how much, but like how other than social media are we going to network with so many people all over the world? And I think that's the beauty of it. And I like how like the documentary talks a little bit about it, but it connects loved ones. You meet people, someone who isn't just in your community, you can expand. Like they said, people have found your relatives, like lost family members, or whatever the case may be. It's just
yeah,
like it's just that much more easier to be in tune with us, right? Like Cindy lives in Colorado. Without social media, Prima, what we used to write each other letters, remember? But
yeah,
even that was like, how am I going to stay connected for
Mm-hmm.
when life continues? This is so easy to open. And yeah, just scrolling, I can see like, wow, how amazing was Rudy's photo shoot like he did last week, you know? And even
yeah,
though we're not in a close circle, it for 12 years, I've been in contact with you one way or another. And it's through this little app that is free on our telephones.
yeah. And my advice is always just to be yourself. A lot of people overthink, but I know I have friends who are like, should I post this or what should I write on the post? I'm like, I've learned to just post it and just like show your personality through like your stories and what you do daily. And that's why you have the followers and the people that will follow you in anything that you do. You take out a shirt, you take out a brand, you take out anything that you desire, a podcast. People will say, hey, I love her personality. I want to follow her daily steps or her daily, videos. So it just depends, like you said, it depends on how you use it and that advantage. So
I agree. And I really appreciate the networking aspect because you guys keep bringing it up, and that's
mm,
another one that is so big because it's a social network. a lot of people are, saying that kids or people are getting addicted to their phones and they're not socializing, but they are socializing. Their socializing just looks different because we're in different times, like
No, yeah, you're right. I see where you're going with it too, because I mean, I see my little nephews and nieces, and they're always on social media.
I muted myself. It's because I had a call. I had a call coming in. Anyway, what was I saying? Do you guys remember?
The network of socializing is different now, and that's where you stop.
Oh, yeah. So I hear just a lot, of negative like backlash, and even in the social dilemma, it's it tells like how the new generations, like the younger generations, are attached and glued to their phones. I don't think that's healthy. I do think that there should be boundaries, but like I feel also that adults are doing it as well. So it's really hard for parents, and then they just end up blaming Google and social media and the telephone is the devil, and it's just like, well, you're not setting the best example either if you're attached to your phone 24/7, which happens. But the other thing was that like kids are still communicating, but they're doing it in a different way, and I think we just have to like adapt to all of this different ways. Everybody who might be afraid of technology, I would encourage to look at it the way that we're looking at it, as a tool to help you in whatever it is that you want, even education. If you're not a person that wants to put themselves out there because that's just not your interest, um YouTube is like my favorite app because it's so educational. Like I get everything, and if I want to watch comedy, then I watch like you can get so much. Most of the stuff that I learned in college you can find on YouTube or on Google, like even research papers, so I think it's an amazing tool. I'm very happy that it exists. Um, and I think that we just need to look at ourselves and like discipline ourselves with how it shouldn't take over our lives. If it is taking over our lives, like we need to find a way that it doesn't, because it
More
can
into
be used.
like moderation in a way, like moderate to like maybe a couple hours, or moderate to okay, I'm gonna be on there just for like a business matter and then log off and then do something physical with that business. Because some people think that I go on Instagram, I post a photo and that's it. Like I'm done. Like I'm posting to the world and I should be successful, but there's hard work that comes behind like just posting something, or like even the podcast, just posting the podcast and not going around town, or like posting other things on other social medias or doing videos. So people, you have to go above and beyond just that specific one post, and then it's just time management when it comes to that.
Hmm.
Definitely. And we have two Instagrams now. Like not only do Cindy and I have our own individual, like, mine and hers, we have the Primas podcast. So I was telling Cindy for a while, like I'm struggling because I mean I manage it for the most part. So please don't judge me, everybody, on how terrible it looks sometimes.
You do amazing.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying, but the editing, you're right. And it's things like that we're just finding out, since before we used to have a personal one, like I would just post of our daughters, or, like whatever, I got a new haircut. But now in the Primas podcast, like we have to be a little bit more mindful and creative, like think outside the box. Like, how are people going to like come to us, or how are we going to get people's attention when we're fighting with like 700,000 other podcasts? You know what I mean? And that's just on Instagram platform alone, not even including other platforms where I don't know really much of YouTube, and we're not on Facebook or Twitter. We're just on Instagram and YouTube, and it's very time consuming. And it just, you have to be mindful of that time, like sometimes I would lose myself and I'm like, oh my God, I'm done with social media. Like I've been on it for like a good 30 minutes of doing things, because as Cindy mentioned in last week's episode, it's the algorithm, right? Algorithm.
Heated of.
Did I say that right?
Algorithm.
Yeah, thank you. That you have to play with. And I'm just like, and after last week's episode, I was a little like down because I was like, now Cindy, like they're in control of us, like Big Brother's watching us. Like I'm done with social media. Like I was about to delete our like Instagrams. And she's like, whoa, Jess. She like talked me out of it. And she broke it down for me. She's like, no, we need this. Like we're doing great. Like keep it up, Prima. And I needed that little pep talk because I felt it like kind of draining. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. But it's for free. We don't have to pay for Instagram. We don't have to pay for, posting these pictures and advertising ourselves. So I do
Yeah.
also really like that. I did want to mention, speaking of like how quick things can happen, I'm sure you guys seen that guy's Instagram page. I think he started on TikTok, Dogface208. The guy drinking the cranberry juice and
Mhm.
sliding down
Yes,
in
with that little
30
song.
days. Yeah,
Yeah.
in 30 days from that video posted, in 7 hours, that video went viral. And in
Wow.
30 days, this guy has over like 3 million followers, including
And he,
myself.
and he was just himself. All he did was create this
Exactly.
cranberry on a skateboard with a little song, and that song became TikTok famous. That's crazy to me.
It's, yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Like, this guy was just being himself, trying to make people laugh in his videos. And not only is his energy contagious, it's his like songs, they're unique, and his style, and it's funny. It's just like you wouldn't see a guy singing these songs, you know what I mean? So I just love it. And that's a great example, I think, of the power of social media. Like, look how quickly this guy just took off.
Yeah, I mean, look at like all these like even TikTok now. Like I kind of manage also my sister's restaurant Instagram, so I post like food stuff, and then I have like my selva stuff, and then I have my own Instagram. So I know how you feel earlier when you touched that subject, that you had like your the primas, and then you had your own and the kids, and so it can be a little overwhelming, but at the same time you organize it well. My thing is just to write everything down, get a little page and like a book, and just say, okay, today I'm going to focus on this, today I'm going to show this, today I'm going to show that. Especially now you can go on live, you can post photos, you can post videos of you doing stuff, and then link it to all these different accounts. So it's beautiful. You have the power to make it your own. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I want to go like be famous like that, but I'm just saying it's an example of like how crazy it could take off. Sorry, Prima, what were we gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say that. I think that part's cool because it's free, and I mentioned this person a lot, Gary Vee. Do you know him, Rudy? Have you heard of Gary Vee?
Oh, I'm so bad with names, but I think if I were to probably see a video or something, I would.
Yeah, he's like this motivational like mentor speaker guy. But he's like really big, and I love how he explains technology and how to use it to your advantage. And earlier you were saying something just that made me think of. Anyway, it's free, and we don't know how long it's gonna be free for. Like he always says that. He's always like, this can go away tomorrow, and like any of this can. And so it's like, take advantage now if you are someone that wants to put themselves out there, or their brand, or whatever it is. It is free. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that it's important to schedule it in. If you are right, like if you are self branding, like on Mondays and Tuesdays, it's your personal one. It's the Primas on Wednesdays, because it is a lot of work. But as you mentioned, Rudy, like we don't have to be perfect when we post. Just post, just be yourself. That guy got famous for being his authentic self, and people are like, I don't know why, but I fuck with him, right? Like that's what it felt like. Like I love this guy's energy. And
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing because he's spreading positivity and laughter. And I don't know, I just think it's a really cool I don't know. I think technology gets a bad rep, and that's why I didn't like the social dilemma, because it didn't really highlight the positives of everything that it has done for us, which is like smart technology. I remember when my mom used to like hate phones, and then once I showed her Facebook, she became a pro at her phone. And I'm like, exactly, because it's smart. It's reading your behavior to make it easier. And I think it's cool. Like Google Maps, we were talking about that the other day, Jess. There's just so much, not just that. I mean, all of the Google like platform, because now they have their own like office type situation, right? They have like the Google Suite.
Oh, I don't
Anyways,
know.
that's getting into,
Yeah, they're taking over
yeah.
the world.
Oh,
Really.
yeah.
Wait till you see that documentary. You gave me like PTSD. Like they have what now? Like not only
I
are
think I'm
they
gonna
like
watch that tonight.
yeah, just be mindful. No, just kidding. But Google and it's Facebook, they like kind of show them as like the top ones. But I don't know about their Google Suites. That's Gmail, you said, or no?
It's
But
Google Suite is like, on Word, on Microsoft Word, you know how there's Office,
Oh
PowerPoint.
my God, they have their
So now,
own
yes,
processor. Oh my
And they
god.
do, yeah, I'm
Wow.
telling you. And that's what I use, right? Because it's like, it's easy for me. I don't have to pay for, I would always have to install like Microsoft into, and I'm like, no, that's another, like my computer was expensive enough. And then with Google Suite, you just use that and it's free and it has Excel. They name it differently, but it's all of that.
Oh my
And
god. I'm
Zoom
still
came out and then they did Google Chats or Google whatever.
exactly.
But I feel like that's a business and that's a smart business because they're just like, well, we can provide that service. So I don't
And
really
for
hate on
free.
Google and for free. And so I kind of feel like I don't have nothing to hide when people are like, well, they're watching us. And I'm like, like I'm a regular person. I feel like we all are for the most part. And
Yeah.
when people are like, they're watching us and they own everything. And it's just kind of like, well, it's free. I'm not really doing anything that's that crazy, like really that someone would care for. They might judge like that, which is weird, but not anything
But I
more
like
than that.
I like what you touched on that you said you showed like I see your mom or so with the maps. Like I think we inspire each other on social media too, especially like when you see somebody like, the guy that's on the skateboard with the cranberry, you're like, wait, if he could do it, I could do it too. And I think that's what happened this year during the quarantine is a lot of people I see a lot of my friends all have their own businesses. They have their own like social medias for clothes or a boutique online. I don't know if you guys seen that. That's like a positive thing that I see. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. I didn't even know my friends had like their cocktail stuff and can do that, but I think it just brought everybody to like more in tune of what they really want to do, and they saw the opportunity to be at home on their phones and do Zoom like this, and they just feel so connected to the world through social media that was like a good transformation to their business. So I feel that's like a big thing that this year kind of hit everybody, like with the whole social media and like creating and all that good stuff. So
And I know a lot of people are also in the position where like they want to post, but they can't for whatever reason. And Jessica, you were saying earlier how like there's so much pressure for the Primus podcast, but Instagram page. But and I do always tell you, like you do amazing. Like you shouldn't just like what are we trying to do? We're trying to spread a message, right? Like we're trying to spread psychology and stepping outside of your comfort zone and explaining fear, whatever.
yeah.
So who cares, right? Like what the editing might look like. Or our editor, my brother, and I love him to death and I love his criticism, like, and I don't mean criticism, I mean like, professional critique and
Yeah.
where should we get better? But sometimes I have to push back and say, listen, we're doing this on the side. This is free. And this is all we got right now. Like we can practice, but we don't have time. That's taking time away from our family, from our other side hustles. And to me, it's just like we just need to put ourselves out there. People will get it eventually because it's worked for those people who have been themselves and are more authentic and more true to their story. Like they pop off. Like that's what we've been seeing. And we're not trying to get big, but we are trying to spread our message to a bigger audience because
But you are trying to get big and you're gonna get big. And that's the mentality that you have to have is when it reaches to someone's hand, it's gonna, blow up. And you always have to think we're just not gonna do the minimal and post the minimal. Anything you post, just let it be authentic and come from yourself. And I do that to myself too. I overthink like, should I post that? Or do I look like that? Or is it gonna match what I'm putting? And that's already overly, that's like social media. That's like the other episode, but we're talking about the positive side. But the positive way is just to just post it and just run with it and just let people just feel it and just get that message across and not really overthink anything. Because like you said, it's free, it's there, and you have the power to make it what you want. You got this. I love you guys are beautiful in the podcast. And this is gonna be the poppiest one.
it is. I was excited about this one. The first time you wrote to us on the Primus podcast, I was like, who is this person? Because I normally don't go on to the Instagram. It's
Yeah.
normally Jessica, and Jessica's she's the popular one, right? And she's in LA, the place to be. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's one of Jessica's friends, right? And so I go on and I'm like, oh my God, like, yes, like he wants to be on our podcast. Like, yes, what? I was like, yes, please do. And so yeah, so I love your personality and I agree with you. And thank you for saying what you said. Um, we are trying to spread our message. We are trying to make the message big. And I asked you earlier already, but I didn't really like clarify. What are your plans with like self branding? Like, where do you want this to take you, or what is your big picture goal?
Like for me, as an artist, I eventually do like. I mean, I've been wanting to do a podcast as well. So in the future, I'll invite you guys on my podcast. But
Yay!
I don't know. Started doing like YouTube channels. Like I was like a little Cubana old lady and stuff like that. But now I got more, better equipment. So I'm thinking of doing like cocktails with Rudy, like kind of like a cocktail a day because I bartend, and then having like a special guest. I have like a business. And I feel like that's great marketing because it's like I'm marketing myself, but then having a guest in the YouTube will market them too. So I'm branding two brands in one video. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. But eventually, my goals are to, I do one day open like my own cocktail business, like a little cute spot by the beach. As an artist, eventually I want to get into music. I eventually want to be in a movie. I have like a lot of different. My mind's everywhere. I don't know. I'm like everywhere in the business. Then I'm doing this clothes stuff now. I'm like decorating stages for my business. So I don't know. The future is hopefully very bright for me. I'm just every day I take it day by day. I don't give up. I'm always like, I could do it. I could do it. I could do it. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere in the art scene.
That's awesome. And you're in
Amazing.
full creation mode.
Hmm.
Like when you're able and you're saying like I want to do this, I want to do that, and you're so excited about it. And that's exactly how I feel like about some of my stuff. I'm like, that has nothing to do with that, but I have to do like business. Business was never ever my I just thought I could never do something like business or entrepreneurship or like do little business side hustles. And it got to the point where I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. I was just like, like
Yes.
no, I can't do this. Like I want my own thing. And it's just like, so then what's the saying? Put your money where your mouth is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
With your money, with
And
your business.
yeah, it's just like you want to complain and say all these things. So then you open your own business, right? Like if this is how you feel, do your own thing. And I kind of like threw myself out there a year ago. Social media has helped a lot with networking. Um, this is the first time that I don't have like secure income coming in, but it's also the first time where I'm so aligned that the universe has my back. Like I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm finally happy. I'm creating my own stuff, and the universe and everyone's just I'm good. I'm happy, and I don't need much. And it's such a risk, but it's a beautiful risk. And what I would tell others is also don't wait. Jessica said earlier, like we're competing against, so many other platforms or podcasts. I've never felt that way. I've never felt like I'm competing. I felt like
Yeah.
everyone's putting themselves out there, and you're going to gravitate towards certain things because we're all so unique. I don't need every single person in the world to gravitate towards my stuff. It's just the people who hear what I'm saying and hear what we're saying. And so it's cool. I love that we're having these conversations. I do want to continue talking about like self branding and social media because it is moving fast, and I do want to share like our journey, how it's going, and also continue to encourage others to put themselves out there if they want, and how to have a healthy relationship, like healthy boundaries with social
Social.
media.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, like you say, you manifest the universe. I started meditating when I started posting on social media my meditations. A lot of people that I knew started asking me, "Hey, oh my God, you do that? Like, what should I do? Like, I got my stones or I got my sage. Like, oh my God!" So it's like it connected me with people that I never thought I would get connected to, and that was interesting for me because I'm like, whoa, like all these people that just those people that you connect with that you just never knew that you would connect with just for just a hobby that you do now that you found out and then you start getting info from them and they start to like teach you all these things and you're like whoa. And I've met friends through it, and like I've gone to yoga classes or like meditation classes where like Rudy, come over, blah blah, blah. It's in Highland Park or it's in LA. And so it's like the benefit, that's a positive thing that I love about posting or like tagging things on social media, that I get to meet all these cool people. Like I get to meet you guys today on this podcast. If it wasn't for me seeing
Yes.
social media, I was like, oh my God, I get to be on the Primus podcast. So like, ooh, so nice.
Yay.
I know. But you're right. It is kind of a little scary at first. As we go on, we're developing this tougher skin because Cindy and I would always say, and I think since we've been doing the podcast, we've been feeling a lot more confident within ourselves and like posting things that I don't think we would have necessarily done in our individual Instagram, but together it's like, oh, I have your back, you have my back. And it's like, and sometimes we do get negative critique, and I'm just like, Cindy, and then she talks me down. But it's like, yeah, you're right. Like there we are to lean on each other for that support, because this is it could be like a cruel world, but it all starts with your mind, right? It all starts with your thought process. And if you're not in that stage, then maybe you should back out. But for us so far, I mean, it seems to be going pretty well. I mean, I love it. I like it. And like I always joke around and I say, I love the sound of my voice, maybe a little too much. Maybe I'm going to be on here and people are like, Jess, just stop. You're like 80. You need to put your dentures on. I'm like, guys, I've been doing this.
I hate the sound of my voice, but I love to talk. So it's like it's a balance thing for me. But hey, all confidence and all love. That's what we want.
Exactly. And just continue to build each other up. And I agree, Rudy. There's so many pages I've seen, and I'm supporting my friends. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know you wanted to do this. And amazing. Let me buy some of that. And I love Sage, and I just ran out. So when you guys get that page open, I'll be your first Sage person.
I have it all here in my apartment. I just have to get to it and post it and do the photo shoots. But it's coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah, you're gonna add us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rudy, for coming on and talking with the primas. We really, really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And I'll be any other topic, I'll jump back on, even if it's other people. Everybody.
Okay, good. Because I really like the flow of the three of us. It was pretty natural. I didn't feel nervous. And
no, I never feel nervous.
Yeah. No, it's because you're a little experienced on that end. So I feel like, right, Jess? Like I feel like a little bit more comfortable because you were like, it's fine. I'm like, okay. We still get nervous a little bit. We were telling him right before we started.
What I've learned about all this is like your mind gets used to it the more you do it. Like when I used to first audition for stuff, I'm like, oh my God, it's an audition and people are looking at me. And the more I did auditions, the more I was like, okay, people are looking, who cares? I'm just here to do what I like. And if you like it or not, I'm leaving, or I stay, or it pack my bag. So it's like your mind gets used to a repetitive thing. You just have to get it, like, you have to nurture your mind to something. Like
practice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is like that. It's like when first I moved in here, the first 2 nights were like, I felt weird. I was like, where are my parents? Where's this? Like, oh my God, I don't have nobody here. Like, Mom, I have coffee. I had to do everything myself. And now I'm making it about myself. It's my first time. I'm like, this is the first podcast I even done in my first, you guys are seeing first, but it's scary at first, but then now I'm like used to it after a week. Like your mind adapts to things, and you have to let your mind just adapt to it. And you have to be strong. You have to push yourself, especially in this entertainment world. Because I heard a lot of, they might not like us, and they will or not, but people will like you if you put it out there. Like it's just being raw and just being you. And don't let anybody tell you that it's not. Or you might get criticized. Don't let anybody push you down.
Yeah.
Just bring it out there. Just be yourself. Do it every week. Don't stop. Don't get discouraged. Don't say, oh, we're over it, or it's not like getting the likes that it likes. Don't look at the likes. Just look at the progress of it, and look at just being yourself. And then the more stuff you have out there, the more you'll get an audience. The more people will want more of what you have.
Well said. You're like the big primo, like giving us advice. Like, little ratchets, don't do that because this is what's going to happen. But I love it.
I feel this. I mean, I have my insecurities. I feel the same way. I feel very scared sometimes of people, and, like, oh my God, they're going to think this, or oh my God, but I think that sometimes you just say, sorry for the language, but fuck it, just post it, just post it and just, go with the flow. And I like what you guys are doing, that you post those things that say, treat yourself and love yourself and confidence, because that's what your kind of podcast is about. So that's smart, both of you that are posting, that's smart, because it gives the audience kind of like that feel of okay, we're posting our podcast, but then we're also giving you that love and that support, and we're here for you, and we can speak with each other,
Amazing.
Great job, Jess. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm telling you, I'm buying you a Birkin bag made of 4 different alligator skins.
When you're famous, you're gonna be famous rocking those Birkin bags in New York.
Yep, you're gonna get 5 of them. So yeah, do you guys have any anything else, Jess? Should I close this off?
I'm good, Rudy. You're good?
Yeah, I think I love being part of your podcast. And when I have mine in my place, I'll invite you two over, and we're gonna do a little cocktail, and we're gonna chat about topics. So
Yes, let's do that. And we'll invite Rudy back here because we really liked him. So
Yeah,
thank
you're
you.
like our little mentor. You're gonna be our therapist. We're gonna bring on
Yes.
the therapist Rudy.
oh yeah, I did take notes before just to get my mind. My
Aw.
advice to you guys is always write down your ideas.
That's Cindy. Cindy has this notebook. I do sometimes, but my
Do it.
ideas are not. Yeah.
And you're very expressive. You're very open. Just that because my mind, I have anxiety, so I always am like like I wake up like I have to do this. Like always, just write down your day or your week. I'm gonna do this week, this week, this week, that. Like it just makes my brain feel so much better.
Yeah.
Just I always hear that. It's like he's always like, "Oh my god, I have this, I have that, I have my internship," and I'm like, write everything down. Each page should be something. I don't know. It helps my brain. So
Mhm.
No, me too. I've always had a calendar, like a planner. I'm obsessed. I even like used to write people in like for appointments. I'm just like, okay, let's talk on this. And people are like, really? You're gonna write me on your planner? Like you're not that important. I'm like, shut the hell up. I have to organize myself.
yeah,
Just to like mentally prepare. It wasn't because I was trying to be like, let me schedule you in, but it's just like I love planners. Like I love planning and being prepared.
no,
You
that's
know,
good.
ahead.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I have
Alright,
mine
I know.
somewhere around there, but I was on it today and I was on my laptop and I don't know, today I woke up with my mind everywhere and like once I sat there in my deck and I wrote everything, I felt so much better. So
Yeah.
if
So
it
write
makes me
stuff
feel
down.
good, I want to spread that positivity to you guys. So
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank
Well,
you.
we're spreading positive vibes to everybody as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Please, please give us feedback. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Instagram at Primas Podcast and share, like, subscribe. Bye.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Have a good
Thanks,
rest of
Primo
the day.
Rudy. You're official. You're a Primo.
Woo!
Woo-hoo.
Bye.
Bye guys. Have a good day. Thank you so much.